welcome everyone to our Adventure Spotlight. We're very excited to have you here today and for an interactive and fun and engaging and learning opportunity for us all to take our lives, our business, our sport to another level. Again, if you have your mute there and you're talking in the background, or if you have your screen on, you can click on the mute there. So we got a great program, and I got to tell you, just in the last couple of weeks, getting to meet Doug here has been quite a treat, and I've been looking forward today for a very, very long time. Our theme for today is mindset and strategy for achieving your goals. Lessons from an Olympic athlete. Of course, that's Mr. Doug Lewis. And today we're going to be discovering the mindset and secrets and strategies of Mr. Doug Lewis, an elite athlete and performance coach, and really focusing on some of these elements on how do we leverage things like commitment and the struggle, embracing the struggle. The struggle is real. We all know that. Of course, having some fun and teamwork, all these elements to help us get the most out of life, business, and sport. Today's program is one of many of Adventure Spotlights. If you've tuned in at a couple of the last ones, we've had The Art of Fear. We've had guys running across the Sahara Desert with Charlie, and then Kristen Ulmer of our last Spotlight. And we also did our first masterclass, which we'll talk a little bit more about how you can sign up for the forthcoming masterclass a week from today in the evening on Thursday on December 10th, which is really about taking these concepts, we're going to be talking about them, and taking a deeper dive into them with a smaller group, where you'll be able to apply some of these specific principles even deeper to your life and your goals. So today's really about hearing some awesome stories and learning some new strategies and thinking about how they can apply it to your life. So if you don't have a journal or a note or a window open there, make sure you do and take some notes. And again, we like to say, don't necessarily take notes about what we say, but what you think about what we say, so you can apply these things to your life. So with that, I'd like to just cue up a vision for you. Now, imagine one of the most challenging downhills in existence, arguably the most challenging downhills. Yes, I'm talking about the Hahnenkamm in Austria. And imagine being at the start line and you're getting ready to begin your downhill race in the World Championships in the race. So, and then this happens. We're going to cue up a little video for you to watch to set the tone a little bit before we introduce Ken, who's going to then introduce our main speaker for the day. John, let's roll it.
Up Todd as he comes into the Hausberg, and when you have a fall like this, you never like to see it in ski racing. It is a part of ski racing. It's even harder when it's someone you know. He's coming across the side hill, extremely high speed. He loses his ski, hits the gate, and then it's a free fall. It's extremely steep in the Zielschuss, and he is really just tumbling. He was unconscious, and as a result, you pick him here, and the ski hits in the snow. He's on his uphill ski, and it knocks off the right ski, and he's out of control. And as he hits the gate, he's plummeting.
Yeah. So, well, fortunately, that's not you there. So, fortunately, that wasn't Doug, but he was in the start before that. And I'm sure, the mindset and everything had to be crazy, what you're thinking about. And everything. And that's what we're really going to jump into, and talk to Doug about that, of setting goals, achieving goals, putting stuff out there that you've never thought possible. But Doug I'll give you a little bit of background on Doug. He's actually a friend of mine who both of my kids have been, or actually one of them has been to his elite team camp. The other one is sort of what we call on our own program that we're all working together to get there. But a little bit about Doug. He's a Vermonter who's now living in Park City, but he wanted to be an Olympian at 8 years old. And I think he was running around Middlebury Snowball, really, trying to pull it off and chasing the fast kids and saying, hey, I'm going to beat you guys. But he made the US ski team in 1991, was on it from 1988. He is a bronze medalist in the World Championships. Raced his first World Cup at 17, but crashed and hit a chairlift tower at 60 miles an hour. But was again first U.S. male to win a world championship medal. Graduated from UVM, became a announcer on NBC, runs a highly successful dryland camp called Elite Team for kids who, that want to chase a dream to be ski racers or other sports. And one of the things we'll talk about is how he had to pivot during COVID, which is a great story as well. But he hasn't stopped. He's running 100-milers. He won the inaugural death race up in Vermont that he had no idea what he was actually getting into. And most recently has a fastest known time for going up and down the K120 jump in Park City, where he covered 16 miles and 50,000 vertical feet in less than 12 hours. So amazing dude who just doesn't stop. It's an honor to have him on here. I love his stories. I love what he's doing, and I'm a big fan. So Doug, welcome to our Adventure Spotlight.
Thank you very much, Ken and Tim and John. And I just want to do a shout out. I see Caitlin Dreyer, I see Maddie, I see Ava, I see a bunch of elite teamers on. So thanks for joining us. I don't know if you're skipping school or how that works, but I'm glad you're here, and everybody else to come join. I love sharing stories about my pursuit, including a few of the victories, but mostly a lot of the failures, because that's when you learn the most. And hopefully we can cover a lot of ground today. If you have questions, raise your hand, write it in the chat, get a hold of Ken, whatever you can do. But I'm here for you guys, and excited to get started.
So Doug, my favorite story though is, what was it, day one, you're at the US ski team camp, you're the first one going up the lift and you fall off. So talk to us a bit about that. That's going to be legendary, number one, embarrassing, number two, and more importantly, is you came back to, thrive from it. So tell us a little bit about that story.
Yeah, this was one of my biggest failures. So we talk about failure, talk about struggling, talking about having those missteps. This was a big one for me at age 16. So since I was 8, as Tim said, I was dreaming to be on the World Cup. And I don't know which speaker view. I think Ken's on it. Am I on it? Who does?
You're good.
So at age 8, I wanted to be on the US ski team. So I finally make it. I'm 16 years old. I make it to my first US ski team camp. It's in Squaw Valley, California. It is June in Squaw Valley. So there's snow on the trails, but underneath the lift and everywhere else, it's just rocks and stumps and trees and whatever, because it's June, a lot of it is melted. So first day, first chairlift ride. I want to be first on the chair. That's my way of doing things. But also there's a lot of coaches out there watching, and I wanted to be that guy, that hardest working guy out there. So I'm first in line. And this was a downhill camp, and downhill skis are 225s. Downhill skis are super long. I can't even touch the top. So I get on the chair, and this was an old chair, this was a fixed grip chair. I get on the chair, I swing forward, I swing back. As I swing back, my 225 skis, my tip goes under a log. So what happens? I get catapulted out of the chair and I land on the dirt in front of everyone. What do you do when you get embarrassed? I stood up, brushed myself off, and I said, I'm okay. And then the next chair hit me. At this point, I started to cry. I mean, I was emotional. This was my chance, my Olympic chance with the US ski team, and I fell off the lift the first day. So I got my skis, did the walk of shame back by all the people, all the kids, all the coaches, and I got in line. I was super, super bummed out. And I made the decision at the back of that line. I thought they were going to send me home by the end of the day, which they didn't. But I'm like, okay, there's nothing worse that can happen now. I fell off the chair in front of everybody. I'm here because I want to do something, and I just committed to those goals again. I'm like, all right, I'm here. Nothing worse can happen than that. So I'm going to go forward. And I got on the chair and I never fell off again. Thank goodness. I did my best. I skied pretty well, and I worked myself back in there. And at the end of that camp, I actually qualified to go to New Zealand, and I was not kicked off the ski team. So failure, big time. And if I can come back from that, you guys can come back from anything that may happen to you. But again, as failure, you got to learn something. What I learned, well, watch your tips and don't fall off the lift, but also that I was strong enough to make it through a tough day. I was strong enough. I believed in myself well enough that I could take the hit and keep on going. And that was a big confidence builder for me for the rest of my career, but it did not start well. You're right.
No, that's a crazy story, but there's nothing better than getting out of the way early.
Yeah.
It's and it's so funny because a lot of people that are ski racers here, you always watch those who bobble in the first couple of gates, and then they get up to speed and they actually ski better after they bobble a little bit because their mindset shifts.
I think that's a big lesson to learn. And we teach that to the kids and we teach it to adults, when a stumble, when something gets you out of your mindset, you have to have the tools, whether it's breathing, whether it's a vision, whether it's keywords, to get back in the game. And just as many people who can bounce back from an early stumble, there's 10 times as many who will just quit at that point. And that's just a skill you have to learn.
No, it's huge. So you've always been, trying to push your goals, right? You're still doing it now. Believe me, we're sort of cut from the same cloth, always trying to see what we can do, how we can do it. And, you get this mindset. Talk to us about all setting those goals, right? And pushing yourself, but enjoying yourself along the way.
Yeah, but I think before you even get to the goals, it's all about what kind of person you are. And to me, I'm a yes person. Or why not? So if someone says, hey, we want to go hike up Park City tonight, my instant answer is yes. Why wouldn't I want to go up tonight? It's going to be freezing. It's going to be a nightmare. It's going to be whatever, hard, tough, but I'm in. So there's degrees of it, but there's yes people and then there's no people. And I think it's a skill. I don't think you're born that way. I think it's a skill you can practice. And I was lucky enough to be taught by two elements that I'm a yes person. I will always say yes to a challenge. And the first person was my dad. My dad was an inventor. My dad thought of different ways to do things. And if something blocked his way, he figured out how to go around it and how to learn from it. And so my dad was a big one in saying, yeah, let's do it. Why not? And then the second person and people that did it was the Green Mountain Valley School. I arrived at the Green Mountain Valley School, a freshman. I was scared. I was freaked out. The first thing they said is, we're hiking up the mountain and we're hiking 30 miles on the long trail. And it was, okay. I was that person. I was that young, but I'm like, okay. And that was the kind of attitude that I just grew up with, surrounded with at the Green Mountain Valley School. So between all these people, I just started becoming that yes person. Why not? Why not do that? And so as long as you're safe, I'm not saying jump out of an airplane without a parachute. Yeah. But as long as you're safe and you've done the work, what's the worst that can happen? You fail. Everyone fails. I fail 100 times a day. Everyone fails. You just get back up. But at least you can look back and say, I said yes. I got myself on that horse and I went for it. So it's really important to start practicing saying yes. And I think we can all get better at it.
That's such an important thing, right? And I talk about this a lot when I'm talking to business executives as well, is saying, be willing to say yes. Everyone says, stand up for yourself, to say no. But when you say no a lot, you lose lots of opportunities versus saying yes. And once you say yes, it's, it brings you to that next level. You need to show up. And that sort of moves into our next thing. And, we were chatting a little bit earlier, but let's have people, let's go out into a breakout room and talk about people, their goals, right? And say, hey, share a dream or goal with someone. And you don't have to say it publicly to everyone, but you could say it to the 2 or 3 people in the breakout room, because then it feels, real. So Doug, should we take a couple minutes and go in the breakout rooms?
Yeah, sure. Share a goal, a dream that you have yet to achieve. I'll share one with you. I'd like to run a Everest. So do 29,000 vertical feet as fast as possible without stopping. That's one of my goals physical, and one business wise is Kelly and I have a goal of redesigning and launching a new elite team online. Super scary, both of them, but those are my goals. So let's break out and just share a goal. It could be as simple as a 5K by next spring, or starting a new business. So we'll see you.
Here we go. Head out to those rooms. I'll keep you guys informed of the time. We got about 4 or 5 minutes to do this. So head on out. Let me know if you have any problems. So everybody's back in. If you guys want to jump back into your conversation, or have people maybe post some of their goals in the chat room, put it out there for the public to see.
Yeah, let's do that. Why don't we all choose a word that summarizes your goal, or a short sentence or whatnot, and just put your goals right into the chat.
So we'll continue here along the way though. But Doug, one of the things, you've always talked about is commitment, right? And I think that's sort of the preemptive piece of the whole goal setting thing. So talk to us, a bit about that commitment and getting ready for, for that.
Yeah, to me, that's the most important part. Everybody has those dreams, whether you're 8, 12, 78, you have those dreams. And that's important because that's your North Star that keeps you pointed in the right direction. But they're going to remain dreams until you make them goals. And to make them goals, you have to commit. And to me, that's the most important part. If you commit, you feel it in your gut, in your belly, right? It becomes a part of you when you truly, in every fiber of your body, want that goal. And it's an amazing feeling when you finally commit 100% to a goal. Some of the tools you can do to help you do that is share it, make it public, tweet it, whatever you do these days, tell somebody, because it becomes real. All of a sudden, you just made that goal real. That's a way to commit. Feeling it in your belly. Anything you can do to make sure you commit is the first step and the most important step. Because when you commit, everything becomes easy, right? So if I've committed to becoming the best skier I can be, or running a 100-mile race, something physical, the decisions become so easy. And this is especially important for kids and adults, right? So if I've committed to training for and running a 100-mile race, should I get up early at 5 and get my run in before I have to go to work, or should I blow it off? The decision's easy. I've committed to running or racing that race. I'm going to wake up. If I go to a restaurant, am I going to get a cheeseburger with mayo, cheese, sausage, some nasty fats all over it? Or am I going to get something more leaner with a salad? The decision is made for you. You've committed to running this race. You order the healthier food. So I just think that's the biggest message to everybody. Once you commit 100% and truly believe in that goal, life is so easy. And that's, I think, the biggest thing that I've found in goals. And, a lot of people make goals and they don't get there. But if you really dig deep and think about why you didn't make that goal, you probably didn't really want to do it in the first place. It's like, how bad do you really want it? If it becomes part of your fiber, if it becomes part of your soul, you're going to get that goal. You may not reach it perfectly because a lot of that's up to chance, but you're going to get as close as you can by giving 100%. I don't know if that makes sense, but that commitment makes it easy to make those tough decisions.
Yeah.
No, it is. What do they say? Discipline is freedom, right? Once it's freeing, it allows you to do it and allows you to, not go to the bar and have those beers, or like you said, have the cheeseburger or the fries, because that it's such an important piece of the whole thing. But and for some people that it's actually a scary thing to tell their buddies not to do it, but it's actually a great excuse to say, hey, no, I'm doing my own thing. I'm going to go after my own thing.
Yeah. And as an adult, I hope it gets easier to make those decisions, but talking directly to those junior racers, it's tough to stand out on your alone and believe in yourself as a 13-year-old, a 16-year-old, because there's a lot of peer pressure, right? And but if you have that goal in your back pocket, guess what? I'm not going to be able to do that with my friends. I'm going to go here, and not only will you be respected, but your friends are going to respect you for making that decision. Hey, Ellie's in the house.
So no, and this is my daughter Ellie that's joining, a lot like some of the other kids that are there, but that's a huge piece of the whole thing. And Doug, one thing, that you always talk about, and there's some ski academies that you only ski all the time, but there's other places or other clubs that do the whole athlete thing. And if you look at most NFL players, most Major League Baseball players, all of them are 4-sport athletes, right? None of them are just 1-sport athletes. And talk about that. I know you're a big proponent of the complete athlete.
Yeah, and that's what Elite Team's all about, and that's what has driven me throughout my life. So I know you can't see me, but I'm 5'8" on a good day. The heaviest I ever weighed was 185 pounds. I'm not the quintessential athlete like a Bodie Miller or a Lindsey Vonn. I definitely had talent. I worked hard, but I wasn't that athlete that won very early and just kept on winning. It was a struggle. And so for me, after I retired, I looked back, how does a guy like me make it to 2 Olympics and win a bronze medal and win 2 national championships? To me, it was about being a complete athlete. All right. I could ski. I worked on my skiing for sure, that ski technique and whatever that is, whatever sport you're in. But I also focused on physical fitness. I also focused on good nutrition, even though it was hard in the 80s. And most importantly, I concentrate on sports psychology. It's about being a complete athlete. And the more you progress, the more important those other things become, especially sports psychology, right? If you look at the ski race this weekend, the women are racing Super G and the guys are racing GS, I think in Italy. The top 7 to 12 athletes all ski fast enough to win. They ski very similar. They're all fast. What the winner has that the others don't is right up here. All right. That complete athlete mentality, having the confidence, having the risk taking abilities. The complete athlete wins the medal. The fast skier will only get you so far. So that's what I've done throughout my life is saying, everybody, if you're a ski racer, you like to bash gates. If you're a soccer player, you just shoot on goal, right? If you're, let's take it to business. You've made it so far in a certain kind of business, you do what you do well all the time, but it's going to take more than that. So it's really opening up your eye to what are the best people in the world doing in your area. And it's just not one thing, it's everything. And so really open up your mind and be a complete athlete, a complete business person.
No, and that's, again, it's learning everything, right? From, if you're a business person, learning how to write, learning how to communicate, learning, the financial piece. If you're an athlete, it's from stretching through sports psychology and all the fun stuff in between. You never see, you see Schifrin is doing drills as much as she's in the gates. And that's what a lot of the kids forget about. Or even, anyone here who's watching is, you're not going to go climb Alpe d'Huez tomorrow because you got a bike yesterday, right? That type of stuff.
I think it's also let's take Schifrin, for example. A lot of people who don't know Schifrin, she's the best skier. She will be the GOAT of all time. But I'll ask the question, why did Schifrin win this race, right? And it'll be because, she can carve a shorter turn in that slalom. That's not why she won. She won because she was never afraid of hard work. And she never did anything less than 100%. She had the confidence in the starting gate. She did the breathing. She did the visualization. That's why she's the winner. The skiing part is only one part of it. And so that's important to know, that you got to practice your weaknesses and you got to find all those other parts to being great and learn how to do those as well.
Awesome. And then another thing too, you talk about loving it, right? And we'll jump into a little bit of an activity here that we're going to do, but talk about, love what you're doing, because that's such an important piece, because so many people don't love what they're doing and they make it miserable. and then they're miserable, right? But if you love what you're doing, it's a lot more fun, and hard work is easy.
Yeah, yeah. The easiest way for me to describe it is, why did I start skiing? Because it is so much fun. It is awesome. I love to ski. That's why I live now in Park City. I live by 8 ski areas within an hour. I get to ski all the time because I love it. And that is just so important to always remember that, because in sports, especially junior sports, you get into drills, you get into this, that, and the other thing, and it's not fun anymore. Same in business. What business are you in, and why did you get in there? Because you loved it at some point, and that's why you went into it. So never forget that. And I have a great story that I want to share about the love of skiing and champions, and how important it is. So I was at the 2010 Olympics. I was the voice of Alpine at Whistler, announcing all the races. And at Whistler, it can rain sometimes. And when it rains at the bottom of Whistler, 4,000 feet higher, it's usually powder. But when it's raining or snowing, they'll cancel training. So it was the middle of the Olympics, and it was raining overnight, and they canceled training early. So I had the day off. So I knew it was a little rain at the bottom. At the top, it was going to be powder. I grabbed my powder skis. I got on the first chair. I didn't fall off it. I got on the first gondola. I got up there, and I thought I'd be the only one there, because at the Olympics, at the ski area, it's closed. It's either people who work there, the course workers, or racers. And on a powder day, usually the racers, I got to rest my legs. I got to watch some video, whatever. So I thought I'd have it all to myself. Well, I got up there and I saw 4 teams. I saw the Americans, the Norwegians, the Swedes, and the Canadians. And so I was in there, and there were these other skiers. I thought there would be nobody. And there was Ted Ligety, Marco Sullivan, Steven Nyman. There was Axel Lund Svindal. There was Jansrud. There was Andre Meyer from Sweden. There was the Canadians. None of the other Europeans were up there, but these were the skiers who loved to ski and had a day off, and they went for that powder. And so I had powder skis, which was great, right? I just remember Svindal had this 215 downhills, because he didn't have powder skis in Canada. So we're out there, and Svindal the powder was so deep that he would fall like every 10 turns. And all of us would ski up to him and just spray him, totally covering him with snow. And he'd be laughing and kind of mad, kind of happy. And I got on the chairlift and I said, wow, here are the best skiers in the world: Ligety, Svindal. And on a day off, they went powder skiing. And I just think that personifies how important it is that we never forget why we did it. We love it. And here were the champions of the world, Olympic champions, up there free skiing. So don't ever forget, you gotta love what you do, and never get away from that.
No, that's a great story, and I love that. Right. I got muted again. I don't know why. But anyways, so let's jump into, we're talking about here, a lot of people here are skiers. We're going to rip a 2-minute tuck. So Doug, talk to us a little bit about this.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to be moving. So for all that want to do this, we are going to get a little bit of a workout in, if you want to. So don't start yet. Let me go through, put me back on the screen if you can.
Everyone can get started by standing up.
Yeah,
I think.
standing up if you want.
We can see you off to the side, so you're good.
Okay. So to do this correctly, we are going to do a 2-minute tuck routine workout. We are going to ski Kitzbühel. Kitzbühel is the gnarliest race ever. So what you want to do is, we're going to spend a lot of time in our tuck. So get shoulder width apart with your legs. Shoulder width apart with your legs. And make sure your toes are pointed straight. Don't have them ducky, because if you ski ducky, you're going to rip yourself apart. So keep those toes pointed straight. The next thing you're going to do is drop in. I'm going to get this a little lower. We're going to drop in, and you're going to be in that tuck. And what you want to do is have your elbows right in front of your shins. Now, if you look at it sideways, you want your butt and your head equal. You don't want to squat, and you don't want to have your butt too high. head and butt equal. All right. And so once Bodie Miller starts to run Kitzbühel, I'm going to say, get in your tuck. I'm either going to say right-legged turn, and you're going to be on your right leg. You're going to have a left-legged turn. And if I say jump, you're going to jump and land. This is going to be hard. It's 2 minutes long on the toughest course ever. If you get tired, just stand up, take a few breaths, and get back down. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, here we go. So listen to me. I'll tell you what to do. Bodie's in the gate. You're standing up and you're out. All right, let's get in that tuck. Let's get in the tuck. Left foot turn, right foot turn, and 3, 2, 1, and jump. All right, now you're down onto the thing. Right foot turn, only right foot. Now your left foot.
You're running out of time.
Hit that leg, left leg. Whoa, a little low there. Right leg, everybody on their right leg. You've got one more turn. Left leg, around the Stahlhung. Barely make it on, and now you're in your tuck. All right, let me see everybody's good low tuck. Gate down. Now, you should be able to feel your legs burning a little bit, and you're only 45 seconds into the course. All right, if you have to take a break, just stand up and then get back down, but put those elbows in. Get as low as possible with your head, thinking about aerodynamics as you crush Kitzbühel course. Here comes another jump. Count down with me. 3, 2, 1, jump.
Yes.
All right, now we got a big right foot turn. Get on that right leg. Right leg. Long turn here. Super long turn. Now left leg. Get that other leg a little bit of a break. A little bit of a low line there. Now let's get low tuck. You should be burning at this point at 123 in, but here comes the toughest part of Kitzbühel. Right leg. Now left leg. Now right leg. And now 3, 2, 1. Here comes another jump. Now jump.
Right there.
Oh, yeah.
All right, now on the right leg. All right, this is where the toughest part of the course is. And jump. 3, 2, 1, go. And now we just got to hold for 10 seconds. Lower. Get lower in your tuck. Lower. And stand up.
Yes.
Stand up.
Turn the volume up, John.
Bodie Miller giving him a chance to do what he has not done before and win the Honeycomb.
And what he did is he took the energy, the
Right.
focus, and the amplitude from yesterday and put it with some smart skiing today, ends up with 6,600s lead.
All of you looked exactly like that as you were. I was
Absolutely
watching on the
stunning
screen.
how
You
Bodie
looked
Miller
just like
can
that. It was
switch
amazing.
gears. This skier was nowhere to be found.
All right,
This
John, yeah.
This was an attack.
Pause that. But no, and Doug, and you've actually raced that course as well, correct?
Yeah, so when I grew up skiing, we saw that on ABC Wild World of Sports. I said, no way I'd ever race that. That's the scariest thing ever. But it became my favorite course. I was 5th there one year and 10th. So 2 top 10s at Kitzbühel, and knock on wood, no crashes. I can hang my coat on that for a career.
Awesome. No, that's good. I still watch that every January, right? And just I'm in awe of those guys and well, the girls don't do it, but are supermen. It's just unbelievable, the strength and the stamina and everything that goes on. And picture doing what we just did right there for going 90 miles an hour or 75, right?
I got one comment, just or a question to add in, like about what we just did. When you're focusing on something that's hard, achieving a goal, and the moment of wanting to quit, i.e. pull out of the tuck versus staying in, what's your strategy for staying in the tuck of life?
Yeah, well, it's that commitment. Do you really want it? Before I threw myself down Kitzbühel, there was a lot of stuff going up here, right? Do I quit? Do I walk away? Do I play it safe? And then even once I'm on course, you're making a million decisions. Do I race it to win? Do I race it to survive? And I always think of that commitment. Why am I here? I'm here to do my best. I'm going to do as much as I can to get my goal. If I make it, great. If I don't, at least I knew I did it. And I think, I probably along the way chose that wrong. I chose to quit, maybe took it easy. And that feeling was not very good. I mean, the feeling of commitment is great, but if you quit, if you walk away, if you don't try your hardest, I think that's as much of a bad feeling as committing is a good feeling. So I learned from those times where I didn't give my best and it just didn't feel right. So I knew that no matter what happened, if I commit to it, if I threw myself down that hill, that was going to be a good feeling no matter what happened.
And there is a question here in the chat room, and I'll read this off to you. And it says, we hear about elite athletes focus on the immediate task at hand. And you alluded to it earlier when you mentioned visualization, breathing, etc. What is that exactly that they are doing to focus at that very moment? What's a word or a thought?
Yeah. 3 things. Before you ski race or before you make a speech, before you do whatever, there's so much visualization that goes on, right? I had run Kitzbühel 500 times in my head for each time I went down that mountain. What was the start? Where do I want to be? What am I feeling? What am I smelling? What am I seeing? All the senses are in that visualization. So I did it in my head as much as possible. And I always did it correctly in my head. So I had already relived Kitzbühel or pre-lived Kitzbühel before that. So visualization, super cool, super important. You can't do too much visualization. Secondly, in the gate, that last 15 seconds, 20 seconds, whatever it is, I had cue words. I knew if I didn't have a plan, I would go crazy. My head would explode with nerves and stress and fear. So I had these cue words: be aggressive, stay low. Be aggressive, stay low. Now I was listening. I definitely wanted to be aggressive. Stay low meant stay pressure on my ski, but it was that cue word situation that put me exactly where I needed to be. And that's all you need to do is practice. Whatever those cue words are, start doing it in practice. And then when you get to the race or to the speech or to the presentation, you're going to be set. So be aggressive, stay low. Be aggressive, stay low. If you ever see my videos, you can see my mouth moving in the starting gate because I was trying to get into that zone. And third, and I think this just comes from practice, but in ski racing, you're making 100 decisions every second. And this just comes for practice, but your brain is used to making that decision. And in fact, I wasn't really thinking. I was making decisions. I was reacting. But if I could get to the bottom of a course and not really remember it, I knew I was in that zone where my body and my mind were connected in the flow where I could make those decisions. But I've also been in many of you ski racers probably do. I've also been on the course where I've been in my head thinking too much, and that's never a good place to be. So those 3 things: visualization before, cue words right at the start or right when you need them, and then practice it so much that it becomes automatic. Decisions, flow state, all happen automatically.
And that sort of goes into, sort of the final question here. And we, in the masterclass we'll do next week, we'll go deeper into it. But what about self-awareness, right? I think that's probably ties everything together.
Oh my God. And we do this a lot with the elite team, whether it's adults or kids, but you got to figure out who you are. If you are the person who likes the pressure, like for me, I was not a training day guy. I was a race day guy. Early on in my career, I would take training for granted. I knew on race day I could get where I needed to be, but on training days, maybe I didn't give my best, right? So that's a self-awareness thing. I then knew I could relax about race day, but I needed to up my training day because I was not one of those people. Are you a pressure person or not a pressure? What do you like to do at the start if you're a ski racer? Are you all by yourself, just kind of visualization, or are you fooling around with your friends? Because that's going to help you. All those questions, and we'll go through these questions next week in the masterclass, but the more you know about yourself, then you can set yourself up to win. I know that if I do that happens, I'm just going to stay away from that. And the second part of that is to work on my weaknesses. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but the better you know yourself, honestly know yourself, it's going to help you in everything you do, because you'll make the right decisions for you. You won't just follow what Ken Lubin does or Tim Walther does. You're going to do what Doug needs you to do.
You don't want to do what I do anyways. But, and I think, and that's where that isn't taught anymore either, right? I think, that self-awareness piece is, sort of gone by the wayside, because people are so, hey, do this, do that, right? And I think it's in business, it's life and sport, and you have to find yourself as, as an athlete, as a business person, as someone who's gonna, who wants to excel. And you're dealing with kids that are in a sport, right? That's sort of, a high-end elite sport, right? But a lot of people are pushed into it. And this isn't just sports with kids here, but they're pushed into it because they don't want to be in it and they never really find themselves. How do you, talk about people, athletes finding themselves and defining who they are, right? And how do you guys teach that?
Well, I think it starts with self-awareness, and we have a journal. I should have one on here for young kids. And the first third of it is self-awareness. What are you all about? And the thing to tell kids is, Schifrin's up there, or Hirscher, or whomever, and they're doing it one way. And as an athlete, or as a business person, or as a student in school, you want to look at the best, but you don't have to copy them. That's maybe not your way, but that's a way. And you're going to take what they do that works for you, and you can leave that other stuff behind. So I think it's important not to just copy what the best are doing, but learn what they're doing and then say, how can I take advantage of that for sure? And then just, we'll talk about, and getting back to that fun part. Are you doing it because you love to do it? If you're not, that's okay. That's okay. It just may be not for you. So, who you are, learning from the best, but not copying the best, and learning from every day, and you'll find your path.
And lastly, ski racing, a lot of people are skiing, or, the executive athletes world are individual sports, right? They're runners, they're triathletes, they're skiers, they're whatever. And they're out and they're in their head a lot. But talk about the team aspect of these sports, right? A lot of people are like, well, what's the US ski team when you're only competing for yourself? Or what's, the triathlon when you don't care about anyone else, but it's you against them and winning, right? So talk to us a bit about that team aspect of all these individual sports.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Team sports, for sure.
Oops, sorry.
I was a soccer player and knew the value of team, but I've been a kind of an individual sport my whole life. But I was alone in the starting gate and I was alone on the podium, but I wasn't. I mean, between the coach, the nutritionist, the videographer, the masseuse, my ski tech, my ski rep, my mom, my sisters, my friends, my teammates. It is a complete team effort, no matter what you're doing. I can't think of a completely individual sport because you're going to need somebody, and it's so, so important. And it's important to have that trust. So if I'm in the starting gate of Kitzbühel and I've inspected to go off a jump at 12 o'clock, which is straight off, not 1 o'clock, not 11, 12 o'clock. And my coach, 10 minutes before my run, says, you know what, you got to go 11:30. You got to move that direction just a little bit to the left. You can imagine if you're off by 3 feet, you're landing in the woods and you're done, you're helicopter away, right? So the trust I had to have from my coaches was amazing. You just have to have that trust in the teamwork. And a common goal is the key. Common goal is everybody on the same page. And it's so nice. And these kids are on great teams, whether it's Attitash or Nubs Knob, Katie, or Boyne, or wherever you guys are. It's so nice to be part of a team because the goals are the same. And I have just one short story that I want to share with you. I was in 2 Olympics, one in Sarajevo, Yugoslavia in 1984, and one in Calgary, Canada in 1988. In 84, my roommate was Bill Johnson. He won the gold medal, believe it or not. What a learning experience for me. But Bill and I were teammates, but we weren't the best friends. We didn't hang out that much. So I went to the dining hall of the Olympics in 1984, pretty much alone. Bill was doing his thing. I did my whole thing. So I'd get my tray of food. Everybody in 1984 ate in the same dining hall. They don't do that now, unfortunately. So I get my tray of food, and I'd look out over the cafeteria, and I would pick a different sport and a different country to sit with. And I'd see 12 guys with no teeth all together go and sit over there, and I'd sit with them because they were the hockey team, right? And then I'd see these people walk in beautifully made up, guys and girls, and they'd have napkins and use them. And that were the figure skaters. And I'd go sit with the figure skaters. And then I'd sit with the bobsledders. And I knew a little German, they knew a little English, and we got to chat. And I just remember being in 1984 in the dining hall, and I get chills thinking about it right now. Here I am surrounded by 200-300 athletes, and all of us have the same goal: to be the best athlete we can, to push ourselves, to work hard, to believe in ourselves. And we were all together. And I just felt so empowered in this room, in this dining hall, because imagine harnessing the power of that room for one goal. It was amazing, because I don't speak a language. I come from a different place. I'm short, they're tall, everything's different. But what bound us was this amazing goal to be the best. And I just felt so empowered. And I just think you can do that, whether you're at a ski team in Michigan or New Hampshire, whether you're a team in a corporation, whatever it is. If you guys have a clear, concise goal and you all commit to it, power is just amazing. It's amazing.
No, and that's probably the most important thing, right? And we forget about that, especially in the world of COVID. But leaning on your teammates and leaning on the people that can actually help you get to that next level, because like you said, you can't do this alone. You need accounting, you need, the janitor, and you need the CEO and everyone in between for everyone to achieve the goals of the organization. Or like you were saying, being an athlete, or if you're saying you're being a musician, right? You need the person who can tune your guitar to be the best, or your piano to be the best, because you can't be the best without them. One of the questions actually was from Ava here, and I want to, jump into it here. What was your favorite part about being on the World Cup?
I guess my favorite part about being in the World Cup, that's a great question, Ava. I think it was being finally, after so long, after so much work, I had finally made it to the ultimate level, and I was able to push myself against the best. I just really loved knowing that I had done all that I needed to do, pushed through a lot of struggle, a lot of failure, and got to a place where I was surrounded by people who were trying to do the same thing, be the fastest from the top of the mountain to the bottom. And it was a singular focus. It was a positive focus, and it raised everybody's game. So I think just being on the ultimate level, pursuing my goals was my favorite part of World Cup. I wish I could have stayed up at that level forever, but you can't.
Awesome. And I think we're coming here, up to the end of an hour, Doug, and this has been amazing. And, we'd love to, if there's anything you'd like to say in closing, we can stay after, answer questions. A lot of people just have it in their calendar for an hour, but, tell us some of your thoughts in closing. Tell us, everyone, a little bit about Elite Team, a little bit about what we're going to do next week in the masterclass.
Well, in the masterclass, it's going to be a little bit smaller, and we'll have time to talk to everyone and get a little bit more back and forth feedback. But I would love to talk about a goal that some of you want, whether it's running a 5K, as I said, or changing your business, or raising your business to a different level, or making it to the Junior Olympics this year. Whatever that goal is, let's experiment it and make a plan. And that's going to start with self-awareness. Then we're going to dive deep into that goal. Here's the dream goal, but what are all those process goals? And then we're going to talk about who's on your team, who can you lean on, who can be part of this thing, and really put together a little bit of a plan to help you achieve your goal, whatever it may be. It doesn't have to land you on the cover of Time. Maybe it just gets you outside every day for a week straight, whatever it may be. So that's what we're going to do at the masterclass. We'd love to have anybody. Tell your friends about it. We'll have some worksheets. We'll have a little bit more discussion. That's for sure. So I'm excited about that. And a little bit about Elite Team. As I said, Elite Team was born because I wanted to pass on my knowledge that you have to be a complete athlete to the next generation. It's just not all about that sport. It's about everything else. And so we used to do camps and clinics, and we were planning on it anyway, but because of COVID knocked us out of camp business, we switched to online. We had 500 kids last year. A couple of them in this room did it. It's called Elite Team Dig Deep, where we worked them out. We talked about sports psychology, sports nutrition, sports physiology. And we had a very successful summer, and we are actually taking that to another level. So we're going to have educational classes. We're going to have membership workouts. We're going to have this craziness. We are designing it right now, my wife, Kelly, and I. So stay tuned. June, it all launches.
Awesome, Doug. This is amazing. And what you're doing is the best. Tim, do you have any thoughts for everyone that's still here? Like I said, we can hang out for another, some time afterwards, but I know a lot of people are in the hour.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think a great way to kind of, I'd love to toss this back to the gallery here. And, if you would just type into the chat one highlight of what you gain an insight on, or a highlight of today's program, so we can kind of see some of the things that really struck home. If it was a story, if it was a strategy. I got to tell you, for me, I've done a lot of visualization over the years with various different adventure programs and speaking and things like that. But to hear you say 500 times, it's like, you're not going to visualize the speech 5 or 10 times. It's like 500 times, I'm like, okay, all right, that's a whole different level. I'm like, no wonder he's a 2-time Olympian. All right, I get it. 500 times. He's not doing it 10 times or 50 times. And it's not just thinking about it, but what you said about all the senses, and you're smelling it, you're hearing the sounds, you're actually vividly being in the moment. And I just think that's so important when you're focusing on achieving something big, to really, really get as visceral and as bright as possible with the visualization piece. So that was a big one for me. And I'd love to just hear if anyone would like to share a particular insight or something like that you're getting out of today's program. We'd just like to toss it up to the gallery a little bit for a couple comments. If anyone's like, yeah, I'd love to share this, or this is something that really hit home for me.
I'd like to respond to a
little bit of sharing. Yeah.
Xena, I don't know how you spell it, Xenia Beatrice. So, I've never been an athlete, but this is so relevant to life. It's funny, when I retired, I lost my identity. At 24 years old, I didn't know who I was because I wasn't a ski racer anymore. And I struggled for a bit. But then I found my new passion. I wanted to inspire and educate kids. And every skill that I had as a ski racer was the skill I needed to start Elite Team as a business. Set the goal, set the process goals, work hard, get help, create a team, learn from your mistakes. Everything in skiing helped me create Elite Team, and it's back and forth. So everything I teach at Elite Team, don't tell the kids. Well, I do tell the kids, will help you in life as well.
Awesome.
Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, a question or a comment from the gallery that we, or anyone like to share one? Yeah, John.
Got to unmute yourself, John.
You have to unmute. Let me go.
It's great stuff. He's doing it now.
Oh,
there it is.
So I think this is backwards for you guys.
Oh, no, it's perfect.
There we go. So anyway, just a comment on this, Doug. It arrived a couple of weeks ago, and I knew I didn't quite fit the audience, being 71 years old, but a lot of applicable stuff in here, regardless of what age you are and at what level you're competing at. Really good.
Thank you, John.
Power of journaling. We're getting
That's
towards
it.
the end of the year. It's a great time to start doing some reflection. And again, just to remind you, everyone, there's a link. You can sign up for the masterclass. It's a small fee, but there's a small fee. But so that's going to be focused on a smaller group. And again, we also just we have another adventure spotlight coming up as well, and we'll email you about that. Ken, I don't know if you want to mention.
Yeah, I'll tell you a little bit about it.
Is on that, but
yeah. So next Thursday, we do this. We double team Thursdays, right? One's Thursday morning, one's Thursday night. But for anyone who's listening, I'm doing it next week with, or we're doing it next week with a father and son team, Travis and Mark Macy. And I don't know if any of you have watched the Eco Challenge on Amazon Prime, but it's a crazy story. It's actually dubbed the world's toughest race, and it's 11 days of nonstop racing. And Travis is an elite level athlete who could have go on to try to win it. His dad was one of the pioneers in adventure racing, but was recently, in the last 18 months, probably a little bit longer now, diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And he raced for 11 days with Alzheimer's and with his dad. And it's probably one of the most moving stories you've ever seen, overcoming resilience, pushing forward, doing whatever it takes to happen. So that's next week. That'll be pretty interesting. So if you're here, you definitely want to tune into that as well. And then again, next Thursday night, we're doing the masterclass with Doug, and be, hour and a half to 2 hours of intimate, knowledge of his expertise, what he's doing, how he made it through COVID as a business that was an in-person business, to how do you become an elite level athlete. So it's going to be, a great couple hours, great Thursday evening together with some insight that is going to be invaluable. So that's about it. And thank you, everyone who's come on. Thank you for joining. This has been an honor for both Tim and I, and John and Doug, for everyone. And what we'll do as well, we'll be publishing this. We'll be sending you the link to this so you can go back to it. You can share it with your friends to get some insight, because I don't think too many people have ever run a virtual Hanukkah. So you're among the 20 that have.
yeah, congratulations on the first virtual Hanukkah.
We didn't even kill anybody.
Exactly.
Awesome. But thank you, everybody. If you want to tune in Thursday, I'd love to have you. We'll give you some great tools to push your limits. And just as much as Elite Team is about educating and inspiring, it's so fun to push your limits. And we'll teach you how to do that.
Thank you so much, Doug, for doing this.
Thanks, Ava.
Thanks, Doug.
Hey, Doug, thank you. I enjoyed this. It was excellent. I just wanted to say I ski with the Over the Hill gang. So I ski with all the all the oldies, and it's really pertinent to them as well. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah, I totally.
You have to be at least 55 to be part of this gang, man.
I'm in. I'm 56.
That's not old.
And our oldest one is 89, I think.
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. So thank you.
If I get near you, I'd love to take some runs with you guys.
Did anyone else want to share a comment out there from the gallery, from the peanut gallery, about your experience today, or any highlights or anything like that?
I would like to share another thing that's pertinent, I think. So it was interesting because I started training back in the 70s, and our coach at that time had us doing visualization. We were cross-country ski racers. And it was really amazing to me that, we are in 73, 74 doing visualization and some of the things that you guys are talking about. Now you fast forward it to now and see how it's played out. So thank you for taking me back down memory lane and realizing that there's some things in the toolbox that I forgot about. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. It drives me crazy. I don't know why more coaches and more programs don't push that sports psychology, because that's what it takes. And wow, 1972 visualization, you were probably on the edge, on the cusp.
We were pretty fortunate in college too. When I was at Colby Sawyer, we had a sports psychologist come teach, and it was amazing. She was a teacher, but she'd work with the different sports teams, and performance started going through the roof very quickly. And it was, it's sort of nice to have that person on staff that you didn't even know you really had, but it's invaluable, the visualization piece, the goal setting piece. So, and doing it back in the 70s, like you said, Mary, that's awesome. Now they're just going to put a chip in your brain and it's all AI. So we don't have to worry about that.
Well, we actually did a study it was in the American Journal of Sports Psychology, 1978, I think. And it was a behavioral change secondary to ropes course experience. And we took a tennis team and did a longitudinal study based on their high ropes course experience and how they took it back to their team. And it turned out that it really wasn't a panacea. It was really for each individual athlete. So everybody got something very different out of it. So it was almost like a individual case study is what our results were. So this is really interesting to me. And thank you so much for your expertise. And I'm glad I could stay in your tuck without falling over.
2 minutes.
Awesome.
Great.
Anyone
Mary,
else?
Patrick, or anyone else out there, or Jim? You guys want to share a comment before we drop off here?
Just really one quick thing about the team element of thing. It is an individual sport. We talk a lot about that in our program with, listen, you compete as an individual, but we all get better as a team, number one. And number two, ski racing is one of those sports with very high highs and very low lows. And we're all going to have a high and we're all going to have a low. We need to be there to pick each other up and push each other forward. Like Mary's over 55 team there is, just one more example where you have to have that support staff, that organization where, if you take a tumble, you got a teammate there to help you out. And you got a teammate there who beats you consistently by 100th. It drives you forward. And it's just a very important element to the increasing your ability as an athlete to be pushed and pulled by the team to get to where you want to be.
Nice. Awesome.
Great.
Thank you
Great
for
work.
sharing that. It's great.
And teaching that, is that Patrick Horgan?
That's me. Yep.
Yeah. Thanks, Patrick, for coming in. And teaching that to young kids, it's going to stick with them. If you plant that seed early, it'll be with them forever. So thank you for doing that.
Awesome.
All right.
Anyone else? Going once? Going twice. Okay, well, this concludes our broadcast show. Thank you again, Doug. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, John. And thank you to all of you for tuning in to another Adventure Spotlight. And please join us for the masterclass and our future Adventure Spotlights. Join our Facebook group and let's keep the conversation going and share this passion for adventure amidst all of the changes we're going through in the pandemic and using these tools to help us all grow and excel in life, business, and sport. So thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you next time.